Hey everyone, and welcome back to the news. It's been an interesting week with Age of Darkness catching on and the race to World First kicking off. So there's a lot to talk about today, both with the race and also, of course, lore and game design. Then, of course, this is our first news show of this month. Somehow means we've got a new Patreon theme, and this month it is Rogue. So, yeah, these are fun. You get your big...
That's not a rogue, that's a bird.
It's our first news show of this month. Somehow means we've got a new Patreon theme, and this month it is...
That's a bird. Since when can you be a bird rogue?
Rogue. So, yeah, these are fun. You get your big art card. We've got our lovely Raven. Then, of course, a high-quality vinyl sticker. They're made by the art team of our game dev studio that's just, like, through the wall behind me. $25 a month. Helps us out a whole bunch, shipping included. And, yeah, a massive thank you to everyone who supports us over on Patreon. So... with that, let's get into Age of Darkness. Yes, the leak that supposedly has caught the whole internet by storm.
Okay.
Now, this was just everywhere this week.
See, we talked about this before. This is the thing that Pyromancer and I and McConnell talked about. I don't know really if that's true or not, but we'll see what's going to happen, okay? $25, wait, was it $25 a month? I have no fucking idea, honestly. I really don't know. I just got the Grand Black War Mammoth. Congratulations. So anyway, like, yeah, this, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's fake, but some of it could be real. Like, I mean, the name sounds good. I mean, Age of Darkness sounds good.
So I thought, why not take a look? At the very least, we get to speculate about the future of the game, and there's a lot of lore topics that are quite likely that we will talk about. So, the name, Age of Darkness. According to the leak, that is a working title for the next X-Pack, which I suppose sounds reasonable-ish for a working title for a game. Now, where things get a bit more realistic is the level squish. Yes, this claims that the vanilla zones will cover level 1 through 20, while TBC Wrath and Kata will be 20 to 30, Mop and Wad will be 30 to 40, Legion and BFA 40 to 50, and then AOD's leveling covering 50 to 60. Overall, this does sound very plausible given what we already know about the leveling squish. So, Ian Hazacoast has floated the idea months ago during a Q&A, and then more recently, an official Blizzard survey asked players if they were aware of
I remember this
expansion's level squish.
Oh, yeah!
Now, that was fairly surprising because it was the first we'd heard about that.
Because, like, the thing with this is it's just assumed that it's going to happen. Right? Like, the way the question is structured, it's assumed that it's already happened. So I actually, in a way, I feel like this is actually a fucking thing, and they're 100% going to do a level squish next expansion.
Confirmation we had heard, and oddly enough, Blizzard have said nothing about it since. So really, the whole thing is just rather up in the air right now. And really, when you think about the sort of anatomy of a leak, well, including something like this would make sense. But anyway, moving on, Tinkerers are apparently the game's new class. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me given Mecha gone, and apparently Mechagnomes and
That's what we've been wanting forever.
Will be the associated allied races, with Goblins, Gnomes, Forsaken, and Draenei being the other playable ones.
Right.
And they would have 2 specs, Explosives and Combat Medic. Now, those specs...
I don't like that. I think that they should make them like Druids, where they become like a machine, right? So, like, the Tinker becomes a different machine. So you have, like, he turns into a Shredder, that's melee DPS. He turns into a tank... he's a tank. He turns into like the thing that like one of those mech warriors that like, what's his name? The main gnome guy that's in charge of everything, and they're ranged DPS. So it'd be like a ranged DPS, a melee DPS, and a tank. That's what I'd love to fucking see, man. That would be awesome. Mechatork, yeah. What?
And they could heal with that gun from Team Fortress 2.
I hate Team Fortress 2. I don't like that idea at all. Fuck healing.
Okay.
Names, they're pretty bad, so I assume they're whip. But, I mean, yeah, the overall thing, I think it could be vaguely real. I think it's all plausible. Though Gill Goblins seem like a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, who cares?
The tech, I would have just thought Mecha Goblins that would maybe opt in to being like the Mechagnomes.
Yeah.
But anyway, as for the setting, well, supposedly N'Zoth will spring his big trap as the Alliance and Horde fight at Thunderbluff following the events of the war campaign. And after that, his next goal will be to free Cthulhu, but not how you'd think. Apparently, he wants to destroy the Bronze Dragonflight and turn Norse Dumu into Morazon so that he can alter the timeline to prevent Cthulhu from being defeated in Anchorage.
Well, that won't be confusing for anyone. That's the good thing about it, is whenever you involve time travel in something, it's never going to be confusing for anyone. It's just absolutely amazing. I love it. Yeah, it's awesome. I want to see more old gods? Yeah, I think so. So I'm not liking the leak about the 2 specs already. Is it accurate? Yeah, I don't know. Lame time travel shit. It's just confusing for people. That's the issue. Besides anything else, it's just straight up fucking confusing.
Now, I think the interruption of the Alliance Horde finale of this current expansion makes sense, but I don't think Blizzard will want to get seriously involved in time travel again. Plus,
I hope
we already
not.
know how Morzond was created, so this would either retcon that, or would maybe have the transformation happen earlier on in Nozdumu's life. Either way, it's time travel. It would be very messy. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? I don't think so. Anyway, Xal'atath is also set to have a major role as an antagonist to the old gods, being a sort of neutral evil character according to the post, which I pretty much take to mean chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
And she would apparently be sort of mentoring us, helping us fight the old gods, I guess a little bit like Locust Walker and Delaria. And really, I think Xal'atath has more reason than most people to hate the other old gods.
Delaria is not neutral. She's on the Alliance's side. You know how I know that? Is because she's in the cinematic with the Alliance. Like, maybe Locust Walker is, but there's nothing else really to say about that. Like, Locust Walker is just like a random fucking thing. Okay? Like, I don't even think that's like a big factor at all.
Given how they trapped her in a dagger for thousands upon thousands of years. Xal'atath apparently is also the reason why Sylvanas is not executed after Mulgore. Again,
What?
I am suspect of the leak, but the whole Sylvanas Xal'atath thing, I would not be surprised if something like that came to happen. Anyway, content-wise, there apparently would be a partial revamp of the old world that unlocks once you hit level 50 and do the AOD, like, pre-quest. Now, this supposedly would involve Ungoro, Feralis, Desolus, and Mulgore being
McConnell, what do you think about them updating the old world again?
Again? God damn.
Yeah.
They couldn't get it right the first time. What do you mean again?
But don't you feel like the Arathi Highlands and the Darkshore zones are good?
No. No.
Okay.
Oh, look at... Wow, there's a big cyclone in Darkshore. Wow, dude. Wow, there's another big cyclone thing in Westwall, dude. Whoa, dude. Wow, it's hard to traverse Barrens because of the big thing in the middle. Whoa, dude. I don't like it. It was dumb. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the revamp. Some of the quests were nice.
I'm going to have to... all right, so... But they're only doing them for, like, the max level zones. So it's going to be more like Arathi Highlands. Like, I think the new Arathi Highlands is awesome. I like it a lot.
You want to phase the entire world?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well, it's better than them keeping it the same just to please people that just rather would play Classic in the first place.
Phasing is retarded.
So is leaving the game the same way and letting these zones just completely become invalid forever. I'd rather have phasing than have dead zones.
Well, if they do that, I'd rather it not be phased. I mean, don't the Barons still have the fucking... the mobs from MOP?
Yeah.
That's... I mean, come on, dude. Look, if they want to do it, okay, whatever. But don't phase it. It has to be universal. For everybody. Everybody should be able to see it. And,
don't you think that kind of, like, if I don't know, I agree and I disagree. I think it depends on how they do it. But I think that you bring up a good point, and it depends on how they do it. I think that if they do have it be phased, that could work. But if they have it be universal, it could also work. It depends on how Blizzard decides to approach it.
No, I'm not saying they couldn't make it work with phasing. I'm saying I don't think it's good to segment people like that.
I'd agree with that.
Like, I think seeing people, like, if you're a low level,
yeah,
and for whatever reason you're seeing a high level, you're seeing high level people come through your zone. I think that's cool for a new player. And like, if you were a new player back in the day, and you were going through Barrens,
yeah,
and you, for whatever reason, you started seeing this raid form in Crossroads because they were going to raid Astronar. You were like, oh shit, what's going down? What the fuck's happening?
Well, then how do you deal with the mobs
cool.
that are in the zone then? Because, like, what are they all supposed to be, like, super high level? And, like, they just kill the players?
I mean, everything's already scaled, right? So, I mean...
So you just have them be scaled?
I guess they wouldn't have to fuck with that.
I don't know.
As much as I don't like it, I mean, I don't see another solution to that.
I feel like you're basically fixing one problem with another problem.
then they would have to get rid of the scaling for mobs too, which I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I agree.
I
with
don't
that.
like that either.
I don't know. I think that we'll wait and see if Blizzard does something like this and then kind of critique what they actually do rather than creating hypotheticals.
Yeah.
High-level zones, and Silithus being the endgame zone,
big
presumably
mess.
a bit
Yeah.
like Suramar and Legion. Now, that would be at launch, but apparently they plan to then revamp the Eastern Kingdoms piece by piece as they move forward with the patches, with something apparently very special going on in Gilneas, Tirisfal, and the Plaguelands.
Oh boy, I would love to see Gilneas be an actual area.
Something that people know that is under the zone there. Now, that's kind of odd to me. Tirisfal, like, rumors existed for a long time, yes, but they were revealed to just be like a Cathaxi or Cathaxi general in Legion.
Yeah.
So is there more there? I mean, as for the Plaguelands, what are we dealing with the bones of the Paladins underneath Light's Hope? Is there maybe something else that could happen there? And then as for Gilneas, well, I think many people do want to see plot happen there, and I would not be surprised if that did actually happen.
Gilneas is fucking awesome.
Initially, you might think it's kind of small, right? Like Ungoro, Faradis, Decilis, Mulgore, and Silithus. That would be as many zones as Legion launched with, but I don't think people would find that acceptable given that they are pre-existing zones, even if the revamps are very heavy.
That's a really good point.
I think this could end up making sense if Blizzard were able to sell people on the future game patches being large enough to revamp multiple zones per patch. But I really think this would be quite a change in formula if they did do it.
What would you guys think if they decided to bring out the expansion and the main selling point of the expansion, the new zones, are just revamped old zones? Now, if it was up to me, I would feel like that would be really boring. Yeah, scam, that's what I would be thinking too. Sounds good. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people would be really annoyed by that because there'd be nothing really new that would come out. It'd just be like higher level zones for the same stuff. You mean like how bad Kata was? Well, no, because Kata actually introduced new zones. Like Twilight Highlands, Oldham, Deepholm, Hyjal, those were all new zones. With this example, they're just revamped old zones, which is very different. So, yeah, nostalgia, I don't know, man. I don't know if that would be a good idea at all.
Have to imagine that this would involve stuff with the rest of the world, like from a systems perspective. And I suppose, therefore, if Blizzard said, hey, look, we know what we wanted to do with Cataclysm, we know where we made missteps, we know what's wrong with our game's world content, and in this expansion, we're putting the world back in World of Warcraft. If they successfully sold that, then I think many people might actually support that idea. Anyway, let's move on. So systems-wise, they're supposedly continuing onwards with an Essence-like system where you would earn skills and traits from level 50 to 60.
That would be awesome. I'd like that a lot.
You would end up having 5 major sockets, 2 for passive traits, 2 for active skills, 1 for an alt.
That would be really cool too. Like being able to choose your own baseline abilities and having like universal ones like that, I would fucking love that. And I think that's something that they should absolutely do. I hate farming power dust for a damn piece of gear. Yeah, I mean, if they had, all I want are more different levels of customization, right? Not just like the baseline levels that we have right now. I think it'd make the game more interesting in general.
Oh yeah, and also if they choose to like revamp the old world or whatever, I'd like to see like less gimmicks, like a big fucking, gash in Barrens or whatever.
Yeah.
And less reliance on like fucking jokes, like the Westfall jokes with the CSI or whatever meme.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like just less references to fucking pop culture.
I don't know. I feel like they've always done that. It's not really,
They have, you're right, but it's not been like, I don't know. It was never like all over the place. It was like the Lincoln Quest or other tiny shit like that.
You think it's just like a little bit too much, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just a little too much, man.
Okay,
make your own story.
Yeah, I'd say that. All right, I think every once in a while it's okay. They even had that back in Wrath of the Lich King. Remember they had the NPCs that were the guys from the Big Lebowski in Howling Fjord. And, I mean, they had... But I think they did do a lot of it. And maybe they did a little bit too much of it in the revamp. That's very true. Harrison Jones and all... Yeah, Harrison Jones. Well, Harrison Jones was originally in Grizzly Hills. So, I mean, that's actually another Wrath of the Lich King thing. So there's a lot of other examples of that are outside of Cataclysm. But, yeah, maybe they did do too much of it.
Johnny
that
Awesome.
could happen. I think if this was on a per class or spec basis, it could be a decent enough system. Then talent-wise, things have apparently also changed with you getting offensives and defensives per bracket, with there being 5 brackets of 4 talents, 2 defensive and 2 offensive per bracket, which, I mean, it's a bit odd. Maybe they do it, maybe they won't. I don't really see a major talent revamp coming, though. But anyway, they also said there will be a Conquest point leveling system past 60, where you would just earn those points on an account-wide basis. Now, these would be spent to get bonuses like increased damage on targets below 25% HP and run speed as the 2 examples, and this supposedly would be a replacement for artifact-like progression that's across all max level characters. Now, I think a system like this
that face is exactly what I felt. If they're gonna do this, what I would like to do if they did this is if there had to be a fucking cap. Because the problem with something like Diablo 3 and their Paragon system is that it's just fucking infinite. They should have a cap on it. And I think that's one of the good things that a lot of people never really realized about WoW, is that back in the day, you could be done for the week. And I like that. You could just be finished. You could do your raids, you could do your dungeons, and you were finished. You were done with everything. And I thought that was a great feeling. And nowadays, it feels like you never get that feeling because there's always something more that you have to do. There's always something else that you have to do. And if you had a Paragon system like this, it would be great. I'd love it, especially if it was account-wide. But the problem is if they make it like that, and then they say this just goes on forever. Because there's going to be points where, like, some people decide to stop doing it. And I think that whenever you condition a player base or a user to, I guess, tactically decide when to stop investing effort into your game, you are creating a reinforcement schedule, basically, or the psychology of not playing the game. And I don't like that. You said you hated the weekly caps. LMAO, make up your mind, man.
Ooh, he's got you there. He's got you. You backed yourself into a corner, dude. What are you going to do now? What could you possibly say to get yourself out of this pickle?
Literally anything. I dislike the weekly caps for the exact same reason. It's just a different endpoint that people choose. Weekly caps created the same problem. The caps were not the problem itself. The front-loaded weekly rewards that then made all of the other content besides that a comparative waste of time was the problem. I mean, I don't understand how it's so hard to explain anything. Like, you're the problem, you flip-flopper. I hate fucking hearing that. It's the most annoying thing that I ever fucking hear, that I'm being hypocritical or flip-flopping when there are people who don't understand what I said. I feel like a lot of times I'm trying to communicate with retards.
Whoa.
Well, it's like I read like the YouTube comments on like some React video, and they're like, wait a minute. Last year, Asmongold said he's 27, and this year he says he's 28. Which one is it, liar Mongold? Which one is it? I think he's lying to us. And I'm sorry, it drives me fucking crazy. I keep seeing these things that it's like you don't even understand what I'm saying, and then you turn it into something completely different. So which is it then? You do flip-flop, though? No, I don't. Miggy, give me one example right now. Give me one example of me flip-flopping on something. One example.
Miggy, you better be careful, dude. You can get banned on Reddit.
I got nothing. I'm not touching the mouse. He's safe right now, okay? He's safe. One example of me flip-flopping. We're waiting. Liking the Dark Souls streams?
That's true. That is true.
Let me think about that.
You did like them, and then you blamed me for it, and then you said they were good, but your chat became toxic. It was a little flip-flop.
I think that, yeah, I mean, it was more nuanced than that, but yeah, I mean, the thing is that it was enjoyable for a while, but I did kind of flip-flop back and forth on that. You're kind of right about that, actually. Yeah, I mean, because the thing with that is that, like, yeah, I enjoyed them in a way, But I guess like my final thoughts on them are that I enjoyed them, but I felt like they were bad for my stream. And overall, I think it was a negative experience for me because there were a lot of times that I didn't enjoy them. So it's like there were sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. I think that's like probably just really the truth. I mean, there were some streams I ended it and I was happy, and other streams I ended it and I wasn't. So, I mean, I don't really know how much of a flip-flop that is, but, I mean, it is what it is. Friday streams, yeah. All right, let's go. We'll keep going. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think that's as much of a flip-flop as you might say. It's not like really an opinion as much, like especially like with WoW, but other than that, yeah, I could see that as kind of being a flip-flop. But yeah, I mean, some streams I like, some streams I didn't like, but I think that it had a negative overall impact.
It was more like the Guild Wars 2 masteries and less stat focused. I think that could be good, but putting vital combat things in this, I'm not sure how much of a good idea that would be. Else they'd risk repeating some of the mistakes of both Legion and Battle for Azeroth in regards to balance. They'd be sort of penciled in or pigeonholed in or whatever to having most of the power gains being front loaded in the leveling for the sake of balance, and then boring incremental gains past that as you grind.
Exciting.
Now, I'd love a system like this, but one that is not tied to stats and character throughput. I think there could be really fun stuff there. Perhaps, you know, those effects could come from maybe more interesting gear, things like that, instead of a big new character progression system. But anyway, apparently the planned release date for this is Q4 2020, and that has been pushed back because of BFA, which would make a bit of sense. They are a little bit behind with Battle for Azeroth. Do remember that, you know, this time in the Legion cycle, we were on Argus already, yet with BFA, we're only on its 0.2 patch. They are like a month or two, maybe 3.
Wait, what? Are you saying at this point we were already on Argus?
Yeah, I think so.
Like 8 months? Wait a second here. Let me open up my achievements here. Let me open up my achievements. All right, character. Okay, so I hit 110 on day 1, so that was 8/30, 2016. So then exploration, Legion. So what's the first achievement I got out of Argus? Let's see. Holy shit. He's actually probably right.
Wow.
Damn. Wow, so it'd be 417. Wait, no, that's not it. Legion Fall campaign. What the fuck? Complete the Argus campaign. So it was almost like, yeah, I don't know. It does seem like, yeah, Argus did come out pretty quick. Like, Legion had a lot of content whenever I look back at it.
Behind schedule. So overall, does it seem reasonable to you? I think there's a bunch of guesses, there's a bunch of wildcards thrown in there, and it's the sort of thing where, yeah, you could choose some sure bets when you're trying to make a fake leak, and then you put in a few wildcards to get people talking. But I suppose it is a jumping off point to other things. Like, would you like to see a big focus on the existing Azeroth versus a new continent? So I'd love to hear what you've got to think about all of that. But as for the end of Legion, well, they say that 825 will be setting up the N'Zoth Aftermath and just putting pieces in place for the expansion finale in Mulgore, apparently. So 8.3 is supposed to be Sylvanas' attack on Mulgore, and it will be a high-level zone with world quests that's similar to Mechagon. Then apparently Sylvanas is actually the final boss of the expansion, meaning that yes, we would have defeated but not killed every Warbringer, with Nathanos dying in the raid and Sylvanas being captured, well, injured and captured. Now, as in this raid, apparently we are then defeated by N'Zoth's minions. They go on to attack all of us, with their goal being to kill Sylvanas, and the whole thing ends with Sylvanas being imprisoned and her sisters acting as her jailers, and if we read the other part of the leak, maybe Xal'atath frees her.
I'm sorry to say, if Sylvanas is the last boss of the expansion, I'm going to be very upset. I'm not going to like that at all. Now, one way that I would be okay if Sylvanas was the last boss is if there was a mythic-only encounter after you killed Sylvanas, where you fought some sort of amalgamation of N'Zoth. That would be the only way I would be okay with it. Besides that, I would hate it.
Supposedly, that will be this year, with Mechanomes and Guild Goblins being an allied race in 8.3 or 8.3.5 as a part of the next expansion's pre-order, with factions not being merged at the end of this expansion, but with them being neutral in terms of the lore, and players having inter-faction group play and communication. Now, to be honest, I could see those coming in terms of features.
I don't know about that.
Communication. And
that's pretty big.
Like an absurd way to end this expansion. I've always thought that it's basically down to whether the final boss will be Sylvanas or N'Zoth. And if it was Sylvanas, I think this certainly would be a decent way to do it. Overall, though, I think this is just a decently constructed fake leak, but it's one that sparks off an interesting discussion that I think
it does spark conversation, which is always a good thing.
I suppose it won't be long, though, because 8.2.5 will probably just be a few weeks away in terms of it being in the PTR.
Wait, what
and
the
that will
fuck?
teach us a lot more about the future direction.
Dude,
of
that's
the
really
game.
fast.
Next, though, we do have some rather sad news. Frank Pierce has left Blizzard. Now, Frank was one of the original company founders, although as Frank would be quite quick to point out, the whole thing was actually sparked off by Alan Adam. So the story here is actually simple enough. Alan was friends with Brian Fargo. Now, he ended up doing coding work over a bunch of years on Interplay games, and then in his final year, he decided to start a games company. And to do that, he recruited who he thought were the two best engineers in his class, Mike Morhaime and Frank Pierce. So as time went on, of course, Mike Morhaime ended up being the public face of the company, but Frank Pierce has been there for the entire time since then.
Oh my god.
For example, he was executive producer on the WoW expansions up to Mr. Pandaria, and he was the company's chief...
What happened, Frank? Man, like, see, that's the thing is... Yeah, the actual boys, man. Yeah, it stopped, right? Yeah, after Mr. Pandaria, he stopped being the producer. See, that's the thing is you have these guys that are like part of the company for so long, and they have, I think that at a certain point, like especially like people that have worked at it for so long, they have like this expectation of excellence. I think that Blizzard used to have with their games is that if a Blizzard game came out, I would buy it just because it was a Blizzard game. And I knew for a fact that it was going to be really, really good. It was going to be polished. It was going to be put together. There was going to be nothing wrong, nothing fucked up about it, etc. And I don't know what's happened, but ever since I think Diablo 3, that hasn't really been the case. He's probably retiring? Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. This guy's probably retiring. He's like probably 60 or 55 years old, 65 years old. The guy, it's time for him to take a break and just chill out and, read the newspaper all day and send his friends emails. That's what my dad does, and he's retired.
Development officer. That's the role that he'd been serving for much of this time. So overall, he was more of a behind-the-scenes kind of guy when it came to running the company. And being real, they're often the most important people in running the company. So that just means we know a bit less about what he did, though he undoubtedly had a massive role at the company. Both Pierce and current Blizzard president, J. Allen Brack, issued statements, and really they're the usual type of goodbye letter that one would expect. And with Frank's departure, Alan Adam is now the only Blizzard founder left in the company. However, it's worth noting that he did leave the company in the early 2000s, only to return rather recently. And upon returning, he said that leaving had been a massive mistake, and that all that he really needed was a sabbatical, basically just a break away from the company, and that he'd actually been wanting to return for a decade. Alan now works on new projects at Blizzard, some of which are new IP. I believe he's running the kind of more sort of incubatory type part of the company.
StarCraft Ghost, remember that?
The likes of Tom Chilton, Corey Stockton, and Craig.
Yeah, whatever happened with that?
But overall, though, it's hard to read into Frank's departure. Could you say that the founders are leaving and they're being replaced with more corporately compliant people? I mean, you could say that. There might be a bit of truth to that. But to be completely honest with you, it's hard to read into that situation with all that much accuracy. So all we can really do is basically thank Frank for his years and years of work on a lot of products.
Yeah, we can't say for sure.
And wish him the best in the future. And with that covered, let's talk about the world first.
Oh, this is about me.
This has actually had a little bit of drama. Essentially, Method were not that happy with their
wait a second, dude. I gotta show you guys some funny-ass, dumb motherfucking bullshit, dude. So you know that clown? You guys remember that clown that was talking about how he got banned from Method's channel and it was unfair? McConnell, did you see this?
Yeah, he was like making fun of Hotted.
Dude, let's read it. Let's read it. I want to read it right now. Okay, let's see here. So this is the guy, and he says this is originally the post. I want to go ahead and just start it right from the beginning. One of the Limit Raiders is banned. Just to be clear, he just made a post about it. Not banned either. You guys may be used to making shit up on a regular basis, but at the very least, I'm not lying about this, and it's pretty sketchy to see opposing team players banned for apparently no reason. So they found his logs. Bring back Tettles, this caster sucks. And this is from 2009. So these aren't some gamer words from 2013. This is from 2019. You fat bitch. Let Tettle sit, please. You're so fat and stupid and probably smell like cheese. Just go away. So this is 2019. No, that's not 2009. That's 2019. That's a 1-9. So this is why he got banned right here. It's kind of sad to see people like this, because the truth is that, like, honestly, I bet Jet didn't do anything wrong here. I bet the fact is that this other clown told him that he did nothing wrong. And then he went to bat for his friend, and he looks like a jackass because of it. And I responded by, if I had $1 every time someone asked for an unban because they were, quote, banned for no reason, and it was actually true, I'd have as much money as Red Bull paid Method for the world first race. And that's basically what it is. It's never true. There's always a reason. And this guy's a fucking clown. And fuck him for ever saying that shit. And also fuck him for putting his guildmates in a position to defend him whenever he knew for a fact that he was a piece of shit. It's just funny. What a piece of shit. What's Tettle? I don't know.
Who basically wanted the event to be streamed on the Red Bull Twitch channel. Both parties were not able to come to terms, so Red Bull apparently started asking around, supposedly, before splitting with Method. Method then released a big Twit longer post, which was quite smartly done. It capitalized on their already good PR to push Red Bull into a pretty hard spot. What's actually happened? Well, we've ended up with two major streams. We've got Red Bull from London and Method from the Take TV studio in Germany.
What the fuck?
It's one of the best setups we've seen overall. We've got Method raiding live, right? We've got them doing that. But we also have Limit and Pieces raiding live in London. As well as loads more guilds having their streams available and being reacted to on both the Method and Red Bull streams. And this gives us far more world first content than we've ever had before. Now, while things may have been a bit rocky initially with that drama, I think this means it could be our largest race yet, which is really good. Then quality-wise, as of the time of writing, it's pretty clear that this isn't a one-boss raid. Ashvane was giving some guilds trouble. We had some new contenders. We had two new Oceanic guilds just appear, pulling into 3rd and 4th place at one point, which is quite surprising.
Amazing.
So overall, it seems as if top-end WoW raiding is doing really darn well here. I suppose that's not much of a surprise, given how Uldir and Azara Lore both did really well, but it's definitely nice to see. And next week, there'll be a lot more to talk about as the race tightens and our guilds get towards Ashara, especially if she ends up having that hidden phase, as some speculate.
Oh, dude, if there's no hidden mythic phase, I'm gonna be upset.
There's a bit of lore in that hidden phase. But again, we'll have to wait and see if that happens. So there you go, a fair few, not super game-related, but I think still interesting Warcraft-adjacent topics to talk about today. So let me know what you thought about them down below. Of course, if you want to help our efforts and also get a bunch of cool things mailed to you, then you can check out the Patreon. And yeah, with that, cheers, and I'll see you next time.
There we fucking go. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that's going to be the next expansion, Age of Darkness? The way that I look at it is that it's probably, probably not going to happen. I like the name, though. I think the name is awesome. It's a great name. Let's look at what the comments are. You know it's fake whenever everybody already knows. Limit just got Ashara right as this video was released. No, they didn't. Oh, got 2 Ashara. Age of Darkness sounds like N'Zoth is going to win in BFA. Obviously, he's going to win. I really hope classes are improved and gearing is better with World Forge and Titan Forge removed. I want to like retail. Everybody wants to like the game. This is why I jumped ship to Final Fantasy XIV. I'm sorry to hear that. More like Activision restructuring. They'll tell you that it's for personal reasons, but look how many people have quit in just the last 2 years. That's too many people in too short of a time to be a coincidence. Including Nobolvar. I'm so sick of these expansions coming out more frequently. It's like instead of fixing what they give us, they always promise fixes in the next expansion. So we never get what we want and we still pay.
Yeah, we're cucks.
It's like, what else are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, we might as well just keep paying. I mean, that's the way it goes. Just keep hoping that one day they'll bring out the good game, and we just have to wait through all of the bad expansions, and in maybe 10 years or so, there'll be a good expansion. One of the worst leaks that's ever been created. Sylvanas will be captivated. What's this here? The leak sounds like bogus. A bunch of fan theories, croppily crafted. sloppily crafted to form something dull. Yeah, this is basically my opinion as well. We're now in a timeline where 4chan is being taken seriously. Well, it is one of the most noteworthy hackers, apparently, according to CNN. So that's okay.
Wait.
What?
Of course it. What do you mean? Of course it was taken seriously. These little.
What do you think they're going to post it on their LinkedIn? Like,
well, no. I mean, number one, they got a president elected, and number two,
True.
Milk is now racist. I mean, come on, these people.
Don't forget
power.
about the OK symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they? That there was like this one guy that got fined or something like that, or got told not to do it in the Overwatch League for the OK symbol. Yeah, it's true. Must be a dry news week. So, I mean, inconsistency from the war. Yeah, I don't know really what's going to happen here. Okay, just a second. We've waited through bad expansions since MOP. I'd say since about since MOP. Yeah, somewhere around there. Waddin Legion was leaked on 4chan. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I'm sure that there are genuine leaks out there. But the problem is that us as external people, right, third-party people, have no way of validating if it's an actual legitimate link or not, or leak or not. So we could see the most correct leak ever. Like, we could have seen Myths of Pandaria is coming out after Cataclysm, and we're still going to think that it's probably something that has to do with the Dragon Isles, because it's more connected to the lore. So there's no way to tell which one is positive, which one's negative. Right? That's what I'm saying. Usually leaks happen shortly before the announcement. Yeah, somewhere around there. It's not a leak, it's just a rumor. I don't know about that.